The atmosphere behind the scenes at Newcastle United is far from calm. Subtle signs, exchanged glances, and evasive statements indicate that something is happening behind the curtains at St. James Park. There is a movement underway, a plan that has yet to come to light, clearly, but is undoubtedly about to break out in the sports news. The fans, always vigilant, have already sensed that something is in the air, and this feeling that something big is about to happen continues to grow. Meanwhile, training sessions continue, friendlies pile up, and the most attentive reporters try to connect the dots that remain unclear. On the pitch, the team presses on with preparation. Off it, the silence is almost deafening. When the club's leadership chooses not to speak, it is because something truly important is being orchestrated. In this context, even the subtlest absences are scrutinized with a magnifying glass. That's why, if you're a passionate Newcastle supporter and want to keep up with everything that's coming with accurate, detailed information straight from the source, subscribe to the channel now. Your subscription is essential so we can keep bringing exclusive content like this, always with responsibility and commitment to the truth. So take this opportunity and subscribe, because what we're about to reveal in this video could change the course of the season. Returning to the story, it's important to remember that Newcastle United is not experiencing an ordinary moment. The club, which recently had its best season in history, now finds itself at a crossroads. The transfer window, which should be a time of hope and reinforcements, has been marked by frustrations, unfulfilled promises, and a lot of tension behind the scenes. Only 2 players have been signed so far, far too few for a club set to compete in the Champions League and in need of a strong, competitive squad. And this brings us to the key point of the story. Information published by the Chronicle this week revealed that manager Eddie Howe has received direct guarantees from the PIF, the Saudi sovereign wealth fund that owns Newcastle United. These guarantees concern the purchasing power to strengthen the squad during this summer window, but most strikingly, the club has already begun preparing the ground for a possible replacement of Alexander Isak, who may be heading to Anfield. Indeed, supporter, what until recently seemed just a distant rumor is now taking on increasingly real contours. Liverpool is genuinely interested in Isak, and sources close to the club confirm that the Swedish striker is wavering about the possibility. With that, Newcastle's management has started to act behind the scenes. And the name gaining traction is Ollie Watkins, from Aston Villa, an experienced, versatile forward who had a standout season in the Premier League. If you're enjoying this content and want to keep following Newcastle's moves in detail with analyses and behind-the-scenes info you won't find elsewhere, you know what to do. Click and subscribe to the channel. It's free, quick, and you won't miss any updates about the future of our club. Back to Watkins. Newcastle's interest in the English striker isn't new. He's been monitored over several windows and is now back firmly on the radar, especially as a player who greatly pleases manager Eddie Howe. According to the Chronicle, Watkins fits the profile the club is looking for: committed, experienced, and with solid league stats. He scored 16 goals in 38 games last season, being a key player in Unai Emery's attacking system at Villa. Losing Isak would obviously be a tough blow. There's no sugarcoating it. The Swede is one of the best forwards in European football, and his departure would leave a hard-to-fill void. However, the board knows that if a good offer comes in and the player wishes to leave, swift action will be necessary, and Watkins appears as one of the few names capable of taking on that leading role without requiring a lengthy adjustment period. Another important point in this equation is financial backing. The Chronicle's report states that Howe was informed there are still funds available to make big signings. The condition, of course, is that the players add immediate technical value and fit the club's profile, both on and off the pitch. It's not about buying just to buy. Watkins, according to internal sources, is regarded as a trusted name, both on and off the field. But it's important to highlight, any move concerning the Aston Villa striker depends on one central factor: Villa's willingness to negotiate. So far, Villa has not indicated an openness to talks, which could complicate matters. However, as we know, the market can shift dramatically at any moment. Everything will depend on how discussions around Isak develop. And since we're talking about movements, here's the invitation once more. Subscribe to the channel to avoid missing any updates on this and other hot Newcastle United stories. The coming weeks promise to be busy, and here you'll follow everything firsthand, with the depth and responsibility that the fans deserve. Now, let's look at the numbers. Watkins and Isak are players with distinct characteristics. Isak is more technical, has greater finishing ability in tight spaces, and offers more offensive mobility. Watkins, on the other hand, is a striker known for strength, positioning, and presence in the box. Last season, even playing in a team that prioritizes a reactive style, Watkins managed to maintain a scoring rate of 0.42 goals per game, a respectable figure. Age is also a factor. Isak is only 25 years old with significant potential for growth, while Watkins is approaching 30. This obviously directly influences Newcastle's investment policy, which has prioritized young players with potential for both technical and financial development. For this reason, Watkins is seen as a more immediate solution, buying the club time to seek a younger name in the future. Internal sources indicate that Howe has already started talks with board members to compile a list of forwards should Isak's departure be confirmed. Watkins is currently the strongest name, but other players from the European market and even from the South American scene are being watched. The idea is not to be caught off guard and to ensure the team maintains its competitive level in the Premier League and Champions League. It's worth remembering that Isak's possible move to Liverpool is not yet official, but the interest is strong. According to investigations by the Chronicle and other outlets such as Sky Sports and The Telegraph, the Merseyside club is willing to open its coffers to secure the Swedish striker. With that, Newcastle is moving into preventive mode, already studying names for immediate replacement. If you've read this far, it's because you truly care about Newcastle United's future, and that's precisely why this channel exists, to deliver serious, informative content based on reliable sources like the Chronicle, Sky Sports and other major English sports journalism outlets. So you know what to do. Don't waste time and subscribe now. That way, you ensure you won't miss the next updates. Returning to our analysis, although Watkins is not the perfect substitute for Isak, his arrival would bring stability to a sector that could suffer a harsh blow. He knows the league, has experience, and comes from consistent seasons. Furthermore, his attitude off the pitch is pleasing. He is a committed athlete with a history of good relationships with teammates and coaching staff. Finally, all that remains now is to watch how this story unfolds. The market is heating up, and Newcastle United, despite criticism and questioning, seems prepared to act with precision. The question is whether Aston Villa will open negotiations, if Isak will really request to leave, and if Howe will manage this transition without major trauma to the squad. This is one of those moments that define the course of a season or even more than that, and you will follow it all here. Until the next video.